Hello, everyone. My name is Carolyn+Brooks Collins. I'm a CPA, a motivational speaker, and a life coach. I am so excited to be a part of Speakercon 2021, but more importantly, I am excited to be able to share some time with you today. I want you to think about your goals and your dreams and what you aspire to achieve. I know I don't know each of you, but I know this about you, is that you have greatness and unlimited potential within you. God has given each of us more talent and ability than we could ever use in our lifetime. Our gifts to God and to humankind is to make the best use of those talents and abilities. So I ask you a question. Are you using your talents and abilities to their best? In fact, do you even know what they are? I mean, are they still sitting in some unwrapped box waiting for you to open them? Think about that. Most people never achieve their dreams or recognize their talents because they're just like I was. I was unaware of my possibilities. I was unaware of my possibilities as well as my impact on others. And perhaps like me, they were just afraid to step out of their comfort zone and explore the world and what's in store for them. You see, I have not always been the person that you see before you. And I've not always been in control of my life. At times, I was just riddled with self-doubt. I found myself just moving with the flow, not thinking about long-term goals or even whether I was living in my purpose or whether I was fulfilled. Don't get me wrong, though. From the outside looking in, I was very successful. I was very successful in my career. I was active in my church. I was active in my community. I mean, so from all perspectives, except mine, I was living a fairly good life. But I had to admit that I was not living my best life. I hadn't even thought about what my best life was and how it would even look. I had become so comfortable playing the role of a supporting cast member, if you will, in my own life story that I never gave myself permission to even think about, dream about what my best life would look. I know I'm not alone. So raise your hand if you can relate to that. If this resonates with you, raise your hand. If you know that you're not living your best life, if you know that you are not in control of your life, if you know that you are not the captain of your ship, then raise your hand. But more importantly, let's think about what are you going to do about it? Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at your goals and dreams, so many of you are not where you want to be. And I'll even put myself in this because some of us never change our lives and we stay where we are because we are afraid. We stay tucked in our little cocoons of safety, or so we think we're safe. And these boxes of conformity that sometimes other people have put us in, or maybe even we help them put ourselves in. But we are afraid to change. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of not making it, afraid of being ridiculed for trying. And perhaps if we were to even admit it to ourselves, we are afraid of success and what changes that may bring to our lives. So we just languish. We're stuck in the same place. We're not moving ahead. We think we're not moving behind, but we have to know that if you're not progressing, you're regressing. But at least we know we're not being fulfilled. Fear will seem real to us when we're faced with it. But what is fear? I know you've heard this. Fear is false evidence appearing real. But tell me, when you are faced with that false evidence, are you someone that will just forget everything and just run? Or are you someone who faces everything and rises? You know, sometimes we need to just face our fears head on and rise to the occasion. As you look at your goals and dreams and you think about your untapped talents, I want you to remember three things. Write these down. Never be afraid of change. Never be afraid of failing, but do be afraid of quitting. And lastly, never be afraid to build your own dreams. You know, when I was growing up, my mother used to say, don't be afraid of change. What's the worst that could happen? If you fall down, then you just pick yourself up and you dust yourself off, but you keep going. I know I didn't embrace those words when I first heard them, and I probably even laughed. But along the way, I remembered them. I remembered those words in my early 20s when I decided to leave a failed marriage that everyone thought was perfect for me, except me. And they thought I was crazy for leaving. But I took a new job and I moved 500 miles away from my family and friends and everything that was familiar to me. I kept saying, fear, don't be afraid of change. That fear of the unknown is real, and I knew it. I was scared, but I kept remembering my mother's words and said, what's the worst that could happen? If I fail at this job, then just pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep on going. I remembered those words again in the same city, also in my 20s, when I started dating someone who was not who he presented himself to be. When he became verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive, I knew I had to escape. I just felt that I was crazy, that I let myself down, and I wondered how I had found myself in that position. But I had the presence of mind to know I needed to change my life. And my mother's words came to me again, like, don't be afraid of change. Totally different situation, but I needed to leave. I remembered those words again in yet another situation. This was in my 50s when I cared for my husband during his failed 18-month battle with lung cancer. During that process, I tried to maintain a sense of normalcy for our daughter who was in high school, our son that was in college, and our oldest son who was just starting his career. I wondered how I could keep it all together, keep a roof over our head, especially after his passing. Again, I never thought any of those things would happen to me because we can't plan for all of life's twists and its turns. But my mother's words kept me going. And ladies and gentlemen, they can keep you going as well. As John Maxwell says, change is inevitable, but growth is optional. And we can choose to grow from our experiences. I want you to challenge yourselves to embrace change and grow from it. Become all that God has in store for you. Just remember that you don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started to be great. Don't be afraid of change. My second point was don't be afraid of failing, but be very afraid of quitting. Because sometimes maybe we're afraid that because we've tried something and we tried it once and it didn't work out and we just said, that's it, I'm done. You know, I tried it, it didn't work, I'm done. And we just have given up. That reminds me of my mother-in-law, who was so determined to be a teacher that she never gave up on her dream. She worked hard to get herself, worked her way through college. She was waiting tables, cleaning homes, and she wanted to be a teacher. But life got in the way, and she married and became a homemaker. And unfortunately, she was married to someone who felt being a homemaker and a wife was just enough for her. But at the age of 44, when her oldest child was in high school, she decided to pursue her dream. I mean, everyone said, Who decides to change careers or start working at 44 and become a teacher? They said, you'll never pass the teacher's exam. They said, you're too old to start. They even told her that her undergraduate school was no longer accredited and she would have to take a lot of undergraduate classes over again. She did not give up. She did not listen to her naysayers. I mean, ultimately, it took her a while. She studied hard, she took additional courses, and she took that exam over and over and over again. It didn't bother her that she failed because she said she was not quitting. She even told her son that if she died, and on the way to her funeral, he heard that that exam was being given again, that he needed to stop and let her take it one more time. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how persistent she was. She achieved her dream and became one of the finest educators in the state of New York. When she retired at the age of 70, she had her undergraduate degree. She had 2 masters. She had 30 hours towards her PhD and so many certifications. She is a prime example of someone who would not give up on their goals, and she persisted in spite of what her naysayers said. So I'm here to tell you to face your fears, to stand up to them, and know that you can defeat them and your naysayers. Don't be afraid of failing, but do be afraid of quitting, and you never, ever quit on yourself. Sometimes we may think our time has passed. Sometimes we think it's too late for us. But as C.S. Lewis says, you are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible to face your fears, to take control of your life, to take control of your destiny. And no matter what you've been through, no matter when you start, you can still achieve your goal. So ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, what goals and dreams do you have? Better still, what did your 10-year-old self want to become? And why aren't you doing it? I want you to know that you can structure your thoughts to access the greatness that's within you, that's going to lead you to an extraordinary life. I know you're working hard, but are you building your dreams or are you still building someone else's? Now is the time for you to set your own goals and build your own dreams. However, as my mentor, Les Brown, says, you cannot expect to achieve new goals or move beyond your current circumstances unless you change. My message to you is that it is time to emerge from your cocoon, step out of your box of conformity, be fearless, find your own purpose, and build your own dreams. Unleash your undeniable impact on the world. Know that when you choose purpose over fear, you will win every single time. As Roy T. Bennett says, on the other side of fear lies freedom. And that's the freedom to take control of your life, to write your next chapter about this marvelous power within you to affect change in yourself and in others. Everyone is waiting on the story that you're just sitting on. You can have an extraordinary life and you can impact others and leave a legacy. You have greatness and unlimited potential in you. I want you to be the person who faces everything and rises. If you fall down, then know that you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you just keep going. Don't let fear prevent you from unleashing your undeniable impact on others and the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Carolyn+Brooks Collins, and that is my story, and I am sticking to it. Thank you so much.